Hi, everybody. Just so you know, we have started the YouTube live just to make sure that we could get it working, everything correctly. So know that if you
Hi, everybody. Just so you know,
start
we
talking,
have
you'll
started the YouTube live
it'll be
just
there.
to make sure that we could get.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, Kat and Andrew, how are you?
Hey,
Good,
Bill.
how are you?
How you doing?
I'm good.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
I have to say, I'm a little sad that you lost the beard. Did you think it was going to hurt your election chances, or was it just time of change of the seasons?
I thought if I had that big beard that it would just make me getting elected automatic.
Oh, okay. So you
Yeah.
thought it was a fair advantage. All right. That's
Yeah.
very sportsmanlike of you.
Smart, yeah.
Yeah, people love that beard.
Bill, I didn't know you when you had a beard.
You didn't? I used to. I had a giant beard.
Yeah.
Wow.
Karen, you didn't see John Muir walking around the woods of South Orange? Because that's what I would see from time to
I
time.
must
Yeah.
have. That's right. That's right. I just always thought it was John Muir,
Yeah.
coming back.
You thought it was John Muir, or
Yeah.
maybe even worse, maybe like Tolstoy or something.
That must have been a big shock when you shaved it off.
No,
have-
because whenever you grow a beard, you always shave it off in the summer, and it's like the greatest idea you've ever had. Like, this beard's driving me crazy, and you just get rid of it.
You're gonna listen from over there, huh?
Can I ask a question, or maybe I need to wait until the?
No, go ahead, ask, I think.
So these rebuttal things, I love them. And first of all, like, so you guys are so organized. But can we rebut each other on my ticket, or do I just have to use it if or it can be anything, right?
Yeah, it can be anything, anybody.
Great.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
more a chance to like answer the question too if it wasn't directed, because each candidate's getting their own question. But if you really are passionate about answering something, you can raise it and then give your.
It's just
Great.
your chance to answer that question if you'd
Right.
like to. Okay,
Great. That's nice.
cool.
You know, I was really afraid there's gonna be like a windy storm tonight and
Yeah.
blow down electric lines and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's super cold out though. Like, it's amazing. It's like February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't this morning. Like when I left the house, it was 80 degrees. And then when I went to walk home, I was like, oh my God, I don't have a jacket. It's so cold.
We just brought in some potted plants because it's supposed to be like 36 tonight. So we're like, well, just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, you have any
Yeah.
plans? Yeah, what do you have?
That's a good
Oh,
idea.
what? Ooh. Put them close to the house, it'll be warmer.
Did we just spawn everybody running and getting their plants?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, forget about this. I've got to go cover some tomatoes.
If you cover them, will that do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have some pots?
Yeah. It's not supposed to dip below freezing, but
Just
30,
in
30,
case.
30, I think it's 36 or
My
39.
camera just
Pour
didn't
it
work.
on.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's pretty close. Not great.
I didn't realize this Notre Dame thing here was Bobby Brown. When I came on, I thought, where did Joe get that? I thought it was Joe Malaspina. Now I remember Bobby Brown went there, didn't he? Went to university.
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
Hey guys,
Hi,
Hey,
hi,
Neil.
Neil.
what's up?
How's it going? What are you drinking?
Coffee.
You're a coffee guy. I knew that.
Yeah. Of course. It's a little espresso.
Neil,
Yeah.
you look like you're hosting a podcast.
Yeah.
I am.
He's got the big headphones on
Yeah.
there. He's a pro. Yeah.
Professional at this.
Yeah, it's Radio Free New Jersey.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, Chris.
Hi guys, how are you?
All right, how's it going?
Well,
Chris and I are joining forces. Chris is going to do the timing from here. Should I log out?
yeah, I was at first I was like, wait, how are Joe and Chris together? I was
Joe-
like, am I looking at a split screen there?
Yeah, no, it's the wonder of
Living across the street.
living across the street and both being vaccinated. So
Nice. That's almost regular life.
almost, yeah.
Yeah,
Almost, yeah.
a little peak.
All right, so let's see.
Joe, do you know how many people we have? Maybe that's.
We had 51 people registered,
Mhm.
but I think we've put the information out. We're going to put the information out for the YouTube feed as well. So we'll probably have more on the YouTube feed as well.
Joe, can you please put the host screen sharing on? You disabled it.
Oh yeah, mine automatically disables. There you go, all yours.
Okay, then I can do that. And then people can see this. Not that, that was the wrong thing. Okay, share. What are you guys seeing?
Your PowerPoint.
Your PowerPoint.
Oh, good, that's what I wanted you to see.
And
Okay,
you want to minimize your thumbnails a little bit.
I'm getting there. Getting
Getting
there,
there.
David. You want everything.
You had it.
I had it, and then I'm not.
Okay, click on the blank spot. Just click on the blank spot now. One more. Oh, you must be using Mac, right?
I'm using my. I can't. I don't have.
Click on the blanks to the right on the blank spot, and then try to grab your. Yeah.
Yeah,
try
there.
that. Yeah. You gotta hold it down.
Do it for me. See? There. There.
Oh, now you're cooking with gas.
There. I was using a. And maybe I can make that. Can I make that bigger?
I don't think so. Display settings down at the bottom, maybe? I don't know. This part I don't know.
You can make that bigger.
I think I can.
Maybe just hit Control Plus.
Let's see. Oh, I hate this. Okay, there,
Oh,
look at
that's
that.
great.
That's a lot better, right?
Yeah.
Then everybody can see that. And they're not fully seeing us.
Look like the Robin Williams character in Deconstructing Harry. A little fuzzy.
I know, I took the, that's the village green.
That was funny. That's okay. Wasn't sure if anybody would even get the reference of Deconstructing Harry. So.
I stole their graphic. I'm going to be fully transparent there. So Joe, I would also put that link on like Village Greens, News and Views site, Soma Lounge, and a few other places. The YouTube link.
Okay. Hey, Kat and
So I
Andrew.
just got a quick question about, like when we're going through this, is it okay to, I don't know, like, how do you want us to just kind of answer in terms of from the cuff? I mean, you don't want us starting to like Google stuff, or does that matter? Like,
No, so I was actually just gonna say if Andrew and Kat want to take a few minutes and kind of we'll do this again at the start of the actual proceedings here, but if you guys want to go over kind of the rules and things once real quick for these guys before we open it up to the public,
Sure.
that would probably be good.
Yeah. So basically, the way it'll work is there'll be 3 rounds. Everybody will get a question each round, picked at random. We'll pick a name out of a hat, and we'll pick a question out of a hat. And that candidate will get a chance to answer. During that round, any candidate can use one of their rebuttal cards if they also want to answer that question. And every candidate will get
So the first
2
candidate
minutes.
gets 2 minutes. If you're rebutting, you get 1. But those are the general rules. We'll start with introductions. Everybody will get an opening statement and a closing statement at the end. And we'll go in alphabetical order in the beginning and reverse alphabetical at the end.
okay.
And Chris is the timekeeper, right?
Yeah.
So Chris,
So-
you're letting them know.
Should we hear the bell?
So just in terms of like, messages or messaging or getting people to help me understand what I'm at.
So
You're-
Neil,
I guess,
I've done this type of debate before.
Mhm.
You only have 2 minutes.
okay.
So, we expect you to answer the questions your own way.
Yep. No, that's what I was wanting to make sure of. That's
Yeah.
kind of what I was trying to get.
There's
Okay.
no like specific format to how
I
we
mean,
answer.
we're not, usually you're in front of an audience, so like it's hard for anyone to pass you notes and stuff. You're
Right.
not gonna have the questions ahead of time. So we also trust that I know 3 candidates are sort of running together, but that they're not by the time since they only have 2 minutes, it's going to be very hard for them to text the other person and tell them what
Okay.
their answer. We trust you guys to sort of, just answer the questions on the information that you know and have.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The other thing, Neil, is I think we're giving you, before we start with the questions, we're going to let you, for what, 2 minutes is it? Or I think 2 minutes, just talk about yourself.
Yeah.
If you want to do that. At the beginning, and then at the end, I think we have
2 minutes allotted for just
at the end if you want to say anything.
Here's
I hate your neighborhood. I'm never doing this again.
So here, this is your chance to plug yourself. This is
Sure,
why I'm I should be the person that you elect, and here's how you get to my website. Those are, the type of things that you would say in the 1 minute to, the opening.
Okay. I got
So
it.
I'll be
That's
keeping the
great.
time, and when there's 30 seconds left for each answer or rebuttal, I'll hold up the sign that says 30 seconds. And then when time runs out, I'm going to ring the bell once. Can everybody hear that?
Yep.
Yeah, I heard
Okay.
it.
So that'll be it.
But if you keep talking after, you are allowed to hit it multiple times, Chris.
You just ding, 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 ding.
We do have the mute feature. We don't really want to use it on you guys. that we don't need to use the mute feature, but we are saying if you like, continually are going, 5 minutes in and not stopping that.
So Neil, it's kind of up to you. For the rebuttal doesn't really mean you have to rebut. You might just have a different viewpoint, or you might want to add or say something slightly different, or say I agree, blah blah blah. But remember, we're going to go through everybody 3 times. So everybody gets their initial question 3 times. There's 4 of you, so that's 12 questions, right? And am I counting that right? And then, but initially you'll get 3 questions, and then you can do 3 rebuttals. So really, there's only 6 times that you get to speak, and we give the same question at the end to everybody. So I guess 7 times. I mean, possibly, potentially. You don't have to.
I mean, that's the thing. You don't have to use all your rebuttals. You're not forced to. It's up to you if you want to. How you want to do things, or we're calling them rebuttals, but they could be like, I agree with what Karen said, or that thing.
And then I'm having trouble finding the mute button. Are you guys going to mute us in between, or should we be navigating that?
Joe, do you want?
When I
Yeah,
see
Karen, the mute button's all the way down at the bottom in the left-hand corner.
Okay, it's just looking at the PowerPoint. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I'm sorry. I'm nervous.
So,
That's
and
I
yes,
see.
And
I
you're
see.
probably used to WebEx, right? And this is Zoom.
Yep. No, thank you. I'm good. I found it.
So the other thing too for everybody is we can mute you, but we can't unmute you. So if we mute you, then you have to unmute yourself.
No, I found it. I'm good. Thank you.
And we're not going to start it we'll start the 2 minutes sort of when you're talking, or we'll let you go a little over, especially if you can't find the mute or because that does happen.
And are you going to keep the slideshow up during it?
We'll keep the slideshow up, because what's going to happen is the slideshow will show everybody the question. So you'll be able to see the question. Everybody else will be able to see the question. We felt that was a way so that people understood what they were.
Can you guys send out the or even just put in the chat the live YouTube link?
Sure, Joe, can you do that?
There you go.
Awesome. I got people asking me about
it. Take it and dispense it places.
Is it before I open this up? Does anybody have any other questions or concerns?
Let me review here really quick. So I'm going to introduce, and then we're turning it over to who to explain the rules? To Andrew.
Andrew.
Kat and Andrew.
Okay. All right.
And then we ask anybody that is not Kat or Andrew or myself, or it's the only people that are going to be on video from not the candidates are going to be Joe, because Chris, myself, my computer, and Kat and Andrew.
Right. So David, if you can,
once you're done.
Yeah, once you're done, turn your camera off.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you want me to come back at the very end to remind people to vote?
Yeah, yep. I have a slide.
Oh, you have a slide. Oh, cool.
I do, David. I made a slide. I made lots of slides.
Okay. Wait. We're supposed to be telling people to vote?
Yeah, we got to remind them to vote. What day?
That's right.
And our neighborhoods in 2 different.
In November, right?
Yeah.
Democrats on Tuesday.
And yesterday was the last day to register to vote, actually.
So are we set? Because it's 7:31.
Yep, I'll open it up here in a second.
Let's do it.
And good luck to everybody.
You tell me when to start.
I will. We're live on the webinar. It takes a bit for all the attendees to join, so we'll give it a couple minutes here.
Joe, I think we could start with David's opening. David, why don't you start with your...
Yeah, okay. So good evening, everybody. My name is David Craker. I'm the president of the Neighborhood Association for Academy Heights. And I know that we have a lot of people on here who are not from our neighborhood as well. So if you don't know where Academy Heights is, we are between South Orange and Irvington Avenue, all the way down to Parker Avenue. And from the Erie-Lackawanna rail line to up to Prospect Street. I do like to say that our neighborhood is from 7-Eleven to 7-Eleven if you were driving up Valley Street. And I also want to say that, you know, we have a neighborhood association. We're a 501c3. So anyone living within the confines of our neighborhood is welcome to attend meetings, whether you're on the Maplewood side or the South Orange side of the neighborhood. We also have Founders Park Conservancy, which deals with the park itself, and anybody around town can join that conservancy and help with that park. So what is it like to live in Academy Heights? I wrote down a lot of things here, and I wrote down it's a noisy, it's quiet. We have a historic district. We have new apartment buildings. We have old apartment buildings. We have a very busy Valley Street. We have a lot of construction. We have a supermarket with bright lights at night. We have a lot of traffic. We have a lot of through traffic. We have traffic that is coming up into the neighborhood, traffic along Valley Street. We have a high school. We have Lady of Sorrows. Lady of Sorrows School is in our neighborhood as well. And we also have a lot of pedestrians fighting for space. But nevertheless, I love my neighborhood, and I'm sure all my neighbors do too. I don't think we would live anywhere else in the town. And so with that, I want to just alert everybody. The reason we are doing this forum this way today is because we want to give everybody equal billing. We figured that's the best way to go. And so we are asking everybody to some extent at random questions as we pull them out of a hat. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Andrew Kitt and Catherine Fisher, and they are going to be your masters of ceremony tonight. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kat Fisher.
I'm Andrew Kitt.
And together we're Kit Kat. So basic rules of what's going to happen. The questions being asked during this forum were solicited in advance from members from the Neighborhood Association. We will pull a candidate's name out of the hat bucket, and then they will get a question, and they will have 2 minutes to answer that question. Once they've completed their answer or their time expires, any remaining candidates will have an option to use one of their rebuttal opportunities, which they have cards. If one of you guys want to hold up your cards so we can see what they look like. Everyone sees, yay. So they can rebut 3 times, and we'll go through that for 3 rounds. The rebuttals will be 1 minute. The original answers again are 2 minutes. Once all the candidates have been asked their 3 questions, they'll get 2 minutes to answer a final question. I forgot to mention, we will open with opening statements from each candidate, and we will close with closing statements. Both will be 2 minutes long. Thank you guys for participating as candidates and for volunteering for these positions. And thank you to everyone who is watching. So we will start the opening statements and we will go in alphabetical order, starting with Bobby Brown.
Thank you for having us, Academy Heights. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. This should be the easy part because you're just introducing yourself, but it's always difficult to go first. Despite the fact that this is virtual, I am still trying to figure out why my heart is beating so fast. And I think it's just because, like all of us as candidates, we're excited about the opportunity, but also anxious to make sure that we have the right answers to the questions that are posed tonight. And if fortunate enough to be elected, the answer to those questions as they're posed throughout the 4 years of that term. Quickly, I'm 13-year resident of South Orange. I'm here because of my wife. I met her at Notre Dame where we went to college. And as she describes it, we compromised and moved to her home state. That's the word she uses, so I'm repeating it. And I've been here for 13 years. We are the proud parents of 2 amazing boys that don't listen much, but love them anyway. 10 and 8 years old. They're in the district, both at South Mountain School. Like I said, I went to Notre Dame, born and raised in Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to be very quick now because I'm down to a minute. I was raised by a single mother. My mother was an educator, same school system for 41 years. She taught remedial reading to 6th graders, the kids that everyone quit on. And she gave them hope. She gave them something more than they got at home. And I'm thankful for that. I think it has been really the byproduct of my commitment to public service. After Notre Dame, where I played football and ran track, I got an opportunity to live a dream, play in the NFL. Went back to Notre Dame for law school, came to New Jersey to practice law, decided to go back to school, again, the son of an educator, to get my MBA from Yale. I'm at the intersection of law and finance now on my professional day, and I see a big stop sign. Thank you for having me, Academy Heights.
Thank you, Bobby. Next up is Neil.
Hey, my name is Neil Chambers. I am running. My ticket is called Vote for Kids because I got into this campaign about the schools in South Orange. But this is not the first time I've been involved in South Orange. I moved here right before Superstorm Sandy hit. So we moved here and then we're out of power for the next 2 weeks. That was a great kind of intro to South Orange. I've got 2 kids as well. Both of them are in South Mountain. One's at the Annex. I've been on the planning board in South Orange, the Environmental Commission, the Green Team, and I also helped co-found the Meadowland Park Conservancy. I have a local business. I have a landscape design build company that we do a lot of work in South Orange, Maplewood, Montclair with the residents, and that's given me a unique insight to the things that people are dealing with. Thank you. From a property and a home perspective, and I'll just say, I've always felt it was important to be a part of the community and do as much as I can, and to bring my talent to the table. And what I'm really running about is about quality of life in South Orange, accountability for the government and the education system. So thanks.
All right, thank you so much. We'll go to Bill Haskins next. You guys are so similar in names. It's close.
We were debating if it should be Haskins Hilton or Hartshorn Haskins because we were not sure which one should come first. So if you have a preference, feel free to duke it out.
All right.
Bill.
I'll go ahead. Hi, I'm Bill Haskins. Like they said, my family we've been residents of Academy Heights for 15 years. That's our neighborhood and that's our home. My wife Molly works as a software designer. My daughter Abby's a sophomore at Columbia High School. I'm not from New Jersey. I'm from small town Ohio. Grew up with some really inspiring parents in Ohio. My dad started out as a high school civics teacher and finished his retirement as mayor of our hometown. But my mom could top him any day. Like most small towns where everything that works is run by women, my mom was one of those women. And to this day, at 80 years old, she's still the board president of the United Way of Vinton County. So that idea of public service and being a go-giver has been with me since I was a kid. Growing up, I loved being outdoors, running around in the woods and fields, and also loved long distance running. But I also had a real interest in art. So that landed me in New York City later in life, where I got my MFA from Hunter College in studio arts. And now I'm a daily commuter to NYC as I'm a construction project manager. And I spend my weekends running around in South Orange's parks. And I'm also the chair of the South Orange Environmental Commission and the leader of our green team. So I'm looking forward to talking to the folks of Academy Heights. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. And last but not least, we will go to Karen.
You bet. Thanks, everybody. I'm thrilled to be here. My name's Karen Hilton. I do use my maiden name sometimes, Karen Hartshorn Hilton. South Orange has been my home for 25 years. Happy to say that my husband Jim and I have raised our 4 children here, and happier to say that they're now all in their 20s and living out of the house. So Jim and I are officially empty nesters. But a little bit about myself. I started my professional career at Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. Then I had the opportunity to pivot, and I worked for Planned Parenthood as an options counselor and a clinic manager, and I got to do that in 3 different states. I moved to Massachusetts, and I worked in the legislature for Massachusetts, started working on budgets. I was a budget analyst for the House Ways and Means Committee, and then I switched and worked for the governor and set tuition rates for private special education schools. And it's there that I got my master's degree in public administration. My husband Jim and I then moved to Park Slope. Then I know a lot of people in South Orange did the same thing. So I worked as a development director for a small nonprofit, and we had 2 babies there, just 13 months apart. And then we moved to South Orange, and we were blessed with identical twin girls. So then I had 4 children under the age of 3. So we decided that it was best for our family if I started being a stay-at-home mom. And that's when I got super involved in the community. So I ended up I was HSA president at the South Orange middle school. The kids all went to the public schools. I was a library board president of the South Orange Public Library. I was a Girl Scout leader for 12 years, and I was president of the Junior League of the Oranges and Short Hills. So I've done a lot of different community service. And then when I did go back to work for pay, one of my favorite jobs was I was executive director of Emerge New Jersey. And Emerge trains Democratic women how to run for elected office. And I liked the work so much that I decided to run. So 4 years ago, I had the honor of running and winning. And it's been the job of a lifetime. I've really loved being trustee, and I'd like to do it for 4 more years. I'm currently chair of the, sorry. All right. That's it. I'll tell more about my stuff later.
Thank you so much. I was excited to actually hear the bell. I was wondering if we'd hear it. All right, so we will get started with the official questions. So I will start with pulling the name. And the first question is going to go to Bill.
Okay.
And the first question is question number 9. So I'll let
There it is.
all right. How do you see the social justice responsibilities of the Board of Trustees with regards to environmental issues?
This is a great question. So intersection of social justice and environmental issues. This is something that the Environmental Commission has been looking at and working on over the past few years. As many of you know, we've worked on it for a few years, but it took effect in the beginning of 2020 or 2019. Anyway, a reusable bag ordinance. I'm missing the date on when it started. One of the big inspirations for that reusable bag ordinance was about reducing the volume of our municipal solid waste in any kind of way that we could. Because I don't know if many of you know, but South Orange's municipal solid waste, along with the municipal solid waste of all 22 municipalities in Essex County, goes to the Covanta facility in Newark in the Ironbound community, and where it's incinerated. And there's an organization called ICC, Ironbound Community Corporation, who's fought that incinerator for their entire history and for the entire time it's been there. And we continue to send the rest of our municipal solid waste there. So this is an important inspiration to us as we work on a new municipal solid waste plan for South Orange and Maplewood. And we're underway on that. We are collaborating with Maplewood, and we've just retained a municipal solid waste consultant to work on a new plan for South Orange and Maplewood to hopefully reduce that stream. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. First question, not sure if anybody wants to already use a rebuttal, so I'll give you a second to think about it. All right, awesome. We will move on to the next. All right, the next question is going to go to Neil.
All right. And this is question 22. I'll wait to pull the slide up. All right. What do you think the most important aspects of the new master plan are?
Oh, wow. Wow. What do I think the most? Well, I got to say that I feel like the thing that I was most interested in was how the downtown was either going to add green space or take it away. I was fairly unimpressed by the way that the downtown was only looking at like a green area. I'd actually proposed an option that we could add about 2 acres of green space in the Sloan Street parking area that could also increase the number of parking spots, and as well as like create commercial and really create a node there. One of the things that through the Meadowland Park Conservancy was the idea to make sure that the park was identified correctly, because there was a lot of, I think one of the big issues that the master plan was hopefully doing was showing that there's all these outdoor spaces, they all have the certain names, and that it just wasn't, it was always confused. And I think that, with green space, it's such an important amenity, as like in Founders Park, you guys have been taking care of, like, and in the master plan, making sure that things are just the idea of being labeled correctly was a big important part, so that we could start to really have a community knowledge about the spaces and then start to be able to take care of them in a much more effective way. So for me, that was, outdoor spaces are a real kind of a passion for me. So that was something that was really important that I wanted to see done. And when we were trying to do that through the Park Conservancy, there was a lot of discussion and debate about that being done in a correct way. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Karen, let's hear your first rebuttal.
You bet. I would add a couple of things. One is pedestrian safety. Really, we have a problem in our town of making the streets safe for pedestrians walking. So I think that's a very important piece. And the other piece that's very important is wayfinding. I think the signage in our town, it leaves a lot to be desired and needs a lot of improvement. And that sort of goes along with the pedestrian safety. But keeping our everyone safe, bicyclists, people walking, as well as cars, it is very important. So that's it. That's all I have.
Thank you. And Bill.
I just want to jump in and say there's one part of this master plan that I love, and that is that it recognizes that South Orange has an open space deficit, and it calls specifically for South Orange to add open space. And I believe it's 45 acres. And I think that that is a great goal for South Orange, and I'm glad it's included in the master plan.
And Bobby.
Yes, I just wanted to say, because the master plan, obviously, we know it was a very long process, and these don't come around very often. They are aspirational documents that represent our values as a community. And so to see equity and inclusion as a section, and to see certain organizations, local organizations like the Community Police Collaborative, which I'm fortunate enough to be the chairperson of, the CCR, Community Care and Justice, there were things that were represented in there that I thought, from an aspirational standpoint, while we can't snap our fingers and make it happen tomorrow, as we've seen over the last year, as we've seen over the last week, there still needs to be a true commitment to justice. And so to see that described in an aspirational way in our master plan made me feel good about being a resident here in South Orange. And now we have to execute on making sure that we are indeed a community of equity and inclusion.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We will go to the next person. And that question is going to Bobby. So right back at you.
Right. And this is going to be question number 20. Do you have any ideas on how to promote high density development in other areas of South Orange outside of Academy Heights?
Great question. And I would have preferred that Bill got this, being that he is in development, but I don't get to make that call. I know there are other projects like on Irvington Avenue. There's a high density project that's being planned. I think of in the downtown area, what we're doing with the Blockbuster site. I know Academy Heights, and I can't see everyone's faces, but sometimes the residents feel as though all the development is directed to Academy Heights. But as I heard David describe the community, I think it is very reflective of the diversity. But back to development, I think making sure that we are finding other areas to develop in town, whether it be Irvington Avenue or, again, I'm going back to downtown Blockbuster site. Some of the highly residential neighborhoods just aren't fit for the high density development, and that's a reality. But at the same time, we do want to see other areas in South Orange to take advantage of high density development. I think making sure that all the traffic is not just going to Academy Heights is something not only ideal for Academy Heights residents, but for all of us as a community. It helps for traffic patterns, it helps with parking. And so making sure we think through that. And again, I'm referring back to the master plan and seeing some of the aspirational descriptions of where and how we want to develop. I think there will be other areas for high density development. And I think, the examples of Irvington Avenue and downtown Blockbuster site, those are two examples that come to mind right away. In terms of how to promote other areas, I don't know right offhand, so I don't want to just throw an answer there, but I think that making sure that we do so in a fair way. So Academy Heights is not the only area where development is being done, and we can find places where developers want to be in town where there is space. I think that would be ideal for the board to do, and I'd be willing to examine such plans.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Bobby. Does anybody wish to rebut? No? Oh,
Neil.
Neil, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I actually feel like, so I'm doing a project right now in Copenhagen. And the thing that they've done is that they haven't looked at the central town as the place to develop. And the same way in Academy Heights, it seems to be part of downtown, but they look at it as districts. And I think that South Orange would really benefit from looking at it from districts. I think in Newstead, there are already high rises at the edge of Newstead, and I think that could be expanded. There's the little park behind there. There's ways to do it in every neighborhood in different ways, whether that is townhouses, row houses. It doesn't have to be downtown. And actually, if we didn't do it just downtown, it would reduce the traffic in downtown and make Academy Heights safer in a way that would allow for pedestrian and bike traffic to become more of a citywide approach and not just a downtown approach. So that's what I would like to see happen in South Orange.
Thank you.
All right.
Does anybody else wish to rebut?
So the final question goes to Karen. And I'll put everyone's name back in the bucket while he does that. The hat. I'm sorry, it's a hat.
It isn't an honest to goodness hat. So this is question number 16.
This is so exciting. Not knowing what the question's going to be.
We're trying. We're building.
We don't know either, so it's
It
actually
doesn't-
exciting for everyone.
It's not anxiety producing at all, really.
So, South Orange has one of the lowest numbers of seniors residing in the area. What are some ways we can make it more feasible for seniors to age in place?
Oh, thank you so much for that question. As many of you may know, I'm the liaison to the Two Towns for All Ages initiative, which is a joint initiative with Maplewood. And I have to say, not to get my other committees upset, it's one of my favorite committees, which is that I also serve as a liaison to the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. We can do lots of things to help make it more feasible for seniors to age in place. I was just on a conference call this morning on a webinar about co-housing, which is a new concept that we're looking into. The way to get more more seniors to live here is to make it more comfortable for them in lots of different ways. So one is making sure that people take advantage of the senior freeze, which is the property tax program. Second is making sure that we have a strong walkability in our town, making our streets and our sidewalks very, very safe for seniors to walk around. And secondly, to make sure that all of our community nonprofits, as well as our village committees, are welcoming to the seniors to participate in all of our activities, because they really do add so much value to us. And then lastly is the programming. We have to make sure that we've got really robust programming through Two Towns, but also through the rec department and through the library. So that's it. I'm done.
All right, thank you so much. And I don't see any cards, so we will pick do you want to rebut? All right, Bob.
I don't know if it's rebut, just add to, because I think that number has probably expanded over the last year. As this pandemic has taken place, we've seen that people have been far more creative about how they live. So what I would like to see is when we think of zoning, and where we can be more creative with what the new lifestyles post-pandemic will look like. People working from home, grandparents deciding to live with their grandkids. I know in my neighborhood alone, it has been just a complete turnaround from what it was pre-pandemic and what it looks like now. I've met several grandparents, and even in one case, great grandparents, that, hey, we decided to move here. So as Karen said, making sure our recreation and our arts programming represent a welcoming environment so people can age in place. And so families, as we figure out whatever the new norm is, can grow into that new norm.
Thank you. All right, round 2 of questions. This is going to Bill again.
All right. And this will be question number 15. South Orange is known for its diversity, but recent CCR data shows that we are becoming less diverse. What are some suggestions you have for retaining that diversity? Oh, Bill.
Bill, you're muted.
It wouldn't be a Zoom call without that. I'm glad I could oblige everybody. Yeah, this CCR data that this question refers to, I think is really interesting. And I was recently just looking at census data that also shows that through 2010, and then 2019 was the most recent I saw, that I think like the Black population in South Orange is reducing by about 0.3% a year, which I think is around 50 people, or another way to look at that is 10, 12 families. So, I mean, this is really, like, whoa, wow, why is this happening? So the one thing is, I think there's probably a variety of reasons for this, so, the Black population of South Orange is diverse within itself. It's not a monolith. They have a lot of different interests and different reasons to stay in South Orange or to leave South Orange. So in one regard, when you have families with young children, you've got to look at what kind of opportunities they see in the community for those children. And if they're looking at South Orange and saying, maybe it's better in Morristown, maybe I should move out, or maybe I should move back to the city or something like that. Or, and then so that's one aspect of that population, but there are probably many, many other stories there too. So I think we should dive deeper on that data to find out more about it. And then just generally looking at also people who are struggling to stay in South Orange financially or tax reasons or other reasons. We should be doing everything we can in that regard too. Like Karen was mentioning senior freeze, homestead. Okay, stop.
You are allowed to finish your thoughts.
Oh, okay. So I think there's a lot of programs around that we could look at as far as retaining everybody that's struggling to stay in South Orange, like those programs Karen mentioned, and then there's one environmental one called Comfort Partners and things like that. So, but I will stop now since I'm way over time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Everyone has been very respectful. They see stop and they pretty much stop immediately.
Stop.
So,
All right. So
any rebuttals? Yeah. I see Bobby's
Bobby.
got a sign. All right.
I struggle with the decision, in this role, if elected, you've got to be wise and how to allocate your resources. I struggle with the decision to use the last rebuttal there, but the topic is just too near and dear to my heart for me not to speak on it. And I appreciate Bill acknowledging that it's not a monolith. People are leaving for various reasons. Some of those friends and people that I consider near and dear to my heart. I'm a coach, so some of my athletes have moved out, and it's been various reasons. But there has been what I think has been this sort of overlap with some of the concerns that people are having in the school district and feeling as though their students aren't receiving the same caliber, same quality of education as their white neighbors. And, there was a use of force report that at one point showed that we being the Black residents were 844% more likely to be the subject of use of force. So I think identifying what the problem is and then making sure that we use all these bright minds that go to New York City and take over the world with the things that we do, using those bright minds to figure out a solution here at home. But we have to stop losing great families, because 20 years from now, that is going to be a catastrophic number if it keeps reducing.
thank you so much. And Karen?
You bet. I'm struggling also with when do I use this card? So it's very difficult, but this is such an important topic. So first of all, I want to say we're so lucky in South Orange and Maplewood that we have the Community Coalition on Race. Like, they are far and above, hands down, a great organization, and we're very, very fortunate to have them. So I'll be highlighting this data. This is a very important topic, and it's one that I hope that our village and Maplewood continues to take very seriously, and I know we do. But I think it has to be sort of attacking this problem on all fronts: our schools, our police, and our making sure that we really are a truly welcoming community. So hitting the problem head on, being active in our marketing, and being intentional in what we're trying to achieve. And we really are a much better community having the diversity and having it be strong.
All right, thank you so much. So we will pull the next name. And this one goes to Karen.
All right, and this is question number 6. What is your biggest accomplishment so far in your volunteer efforts in South Orange? How will you leverage this experience if elected?
Oh, I love this question. um, there's a couple, there's many. One is, I think, highlighting our public library. I ran for office originally because I didn't think that the current trustees were paying any attention to the library. So we did apply, the library applied for one of the state grants. We worked very hard on it. We were not successful in it, but we are applying again. So I would say transforming the library is probably one of my biggest accomplishments. I'm going to say a couple of other things. I'm going to give a shout out to the Girl Scouts of our community. I was a Girl Scout leader for 2 different troops over 12 years, and raising strong girls is something that's so near and dear to my heart. And those 2 troops were really completely fantastic. And I think I was very proud of the work that we did with that. And then honestly, the last one is around the budget. So I know this isn't the sexiest idea, but I'm proud that I've been the chair of the finance committee, and we've done a couple of really important things on the finance committee. We now have a fund balance policy, which again isn't very exciting, but it basically is the Board of Trustees acknowledging that we need to have a rainy day fund and that we need to not rate it. So we have used, in previous years, we have used that fund balance, which is really, the state calls it the surplus, but it's not really a surplus, it's a fund balance. But so we have a good fund balance policy. And again, I know it's not very exciting, but I'm very proud that I got the board to pay attention to it and to pass that policy. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Anybody want to?
Nobody wants to talk about the fund balance policy? It's so exciting. Come on, guys.
All right, we will continue on. All right, so the next one's going to go to Bobby. Ooh, we got the big one.
All right. This is the big one. This is number 8. In the master plan presentations, it was discussed that 70% of the traffic on Valley Street is not local. As development increases and we begin to commute again, what are your thoughts on improving pedestrian safety along this corridor? How would you engage Essex County to be on board for these improvements?
Great question, and obviously very timely. Public safety has been a concern. We've had too many issues here in South Orange as we talk about making it a safe place for our elderly community to live. Let's be honest, there are areas in South Orange that it's not safe to walk. And you know, if you think about that traffic, and you think about the lighting, you think about where the pedestrian walkways are, we have to definitely reimagine what a downtown that is pedestrian friendly looks like. We have to imagine how to maybe reroute some of the traffic. And because, as you have all heard, and I've heard, the explanation is, well, those are county roads. Some of it is out of our control. We have to be more influential at the county level and be able to speak up and speak out about why this makes sense. Any single life that is taken because of safety is one too many, and we've had more than one example. I know that the Public Safety Committee is working very hard. So what we want is to make sure other residents, again, taking all that best and brightest talent that goes to New York City every day, getting more people involved and engaged in public safety, figuring out what that reimagining looks like, looking at best practices in similar sized communities that have done better for their community and made it safer. You see on Scotland Road that there were some speed bumps and some lights added that I think has made that considerably safer. The data is all a bit funny right now because none of us are going through our normal lives. Some of us all of our schedules are messed up. So, but I think outside the data, just the general feeling of whether or not it feels safe or not. And I don't see the signs. I don't know where I'm at time-wise, but whether or not it feels safer or not is just a feeling. I think we've got to make our community feel safer to walk in that area. And how to do that, I don't know exactly, but I know it's time to do it immediately. We can't wait for it because people's lives are in jeopardy and families are ripped apart when public safety does not represent the safety in which we try to adhere to as a community.
Thank you so much. Bill, I see you would like to make a comment.
I just want to follow up quickly on the idea of traffic and pedestrian safety on Valley Street. I think there's real opportunity along there to do some innovative things with pedestrian crossings, with bump outs. You see these when you go to communities like Hoboken. New York City is covered with these now, with these pedestrian bump outs, which what they do is they slow traffic because the intersection is tighter. So it naturally slows the traffic. And then it gives a shorter crossing distance for pedestrians at that point. So it's safer for pedestrians too. And it gives a safe place for that pedestrian to stand. There's some fancy ones that are cool that I take pictures of when I'm in different communities that have plantings and trees and things in them. But there's also some low-tech solutions where you just use pylons and paint, and you can achieve the effect that you want for that intersection with very low risk, because it doesn't cost a lot. And then if it doesn't work, you can just scrape it off, and go back to the way it was. So I think there's things we can do that. And I think we can work with the county.
All right, thank you so much. And Neil.
Thanks.
So it was, I just want to say, like, the fact that people are getting hit by cars in this town is unacceptable. And the fact every time someone gets hit, it becomes an issue and then it fades away. One of the things that we've done, something that Bill was talking about that we've already done, is we created a parklet in front of Tito's on a county road, got the ability to build it, and it's been there for almost a year now. That could easily be applied to Valley. And we just need people, we need the town and other people to support things like that, to create space that doesn't let that doesn't allow Valley to just feel like a racetrack, and it to be about people. The problem is that road is still seen only for cars. It is only a car space, and it needs to be about people. And that's the reason I think that, like, quality of life is so important. And I got to tell you, if I'm elected, that will become one of my most important issues, because I've been championing those types of things to happen in this town. And I've actually got things to happen in accordance and working with the county when other people said that it couldn't happen because it's a county road. So.
Thank you so much. All right. And our last question goes right back to Neil.
All right, and this is question number 10. What are your thoughts on improving the town's recycling program?
Okay. Well, I know that there's, I know that the Environmental Commission has been doing a lot of stuff around zero waste. I do think that that's a great kind of solution that we need to start to reduce before it even goes into the waste stream. The hard part about this is that the people who used to purchase recyclables are not purchasing those at the rate that they used to. So I think that's going to be a tough issue to get over. I personally think that the way that we can improve recycling is to improve people's purchasing and do it in a way that they can actually reuse products versus it being something that's easily just thrown away. I know that we've pushed for a long time, like no plastics, or so no plastics was a big thing that happened in South Orange. And it really seemed to have a big impact. And it was really about just letting people know that there are different options, and I really feel like it is very much about an education, that it's really just that there are alternatives. And I know that businesses in town have, for instance, Bill had mentioned the thing about plastic bags. The businesses were willing to start doing that and start offering either reusable or paper bags. That kind of stuff has been a great way to get the ball rolling. And I think that we have to really build off of those successes to really get it to where we're not just recycling, but we're actually reducing the overall amount of waste.
All right, thank you so much. And Bill, I see you're using your last rebuttal.
Yeah, no choice on this one. Great summary by Neil. And I think, the key is for all of us, as we work on these things is source reduction is critical. We just, how do you solve this problem? It's like, let's have less of this problem, but just really quickly, I want to tell you about two things we're working on around recycling. One that I mentioned earlier was collaboration with Maplewood to retain a consultant to create a new municipal solid waste plan, which is an exciting collaboration. And then the second thing we're working on is we need to make our DPW recycling facility, we need to update it and make it more user-friendly and more fluid to respond to opportunities in reuse, recycling and composting markets and things like that. So that's in process right now. Still a lot of work to do on both of those though.
All right, thank you so much. I see a corner of red in Karen's screen. Are you gonna do it?
I'm so torn because this is my last one, but yes, this is just too important. I think everybody needs to understand in South Orange, whether I'm elected or not, which I hope I am elected, but changes are coming to our recycling program. We have to change just about everything that we're doing with recycling. It's much of what we're putting in the bins is actually getting thrown in the trash. So big changes have to happen, and changes have to happen across the board, as Neil and Bill have said. So the village has to do a much better job of communicating of what is and isn't allowed, and the residents have to do a lot better job of taking ownership of how they recycle and what they recycle. So I just want to send the message loud and clear. Changes are coming, and it's up to everyone. All of us are going to have to change our ways just a little bit. So that's it.
All right, so the final round of questions. And the first one will go to Karen.
All right, and this is question number 1. There we go. How do you feel about shared services and consolidation?
I love them. It's the name of the game, right? We have so many municipalities, and we need to share. We need to share when it results in better services to the residents and economies of scale. So if it saves us money, and specifically the fire department merger, I am totally in support of merging our fire departments. It's not going to save us money in the first year, but it will in the second and third and moving forward. So that's an excellent idea, and I hope that we can move that forward. The other place that we have been doing a good shared service is the municipal courts that everyone's well aware of at this point. That's been in place for a little while now. And honestly, for our seniors, the 2 Towns for All Ages has been a really nice initiative. The seniors in South Orange and the seniors in Maplewood are going through many shared experiences, and it's been just a wonderful experience to be able to provide coordinated programming. So yeah, I think bring it on. The more the better. Again, where it results in efficiencies. I know it had been talked about of merging libraries, and at this point I'm not in favor of that, but I would be in favor of talking about it. But again, I don't think you'll save any money from merging the libraries, and we wouldn't want to take away any resources from libraries. So we have to do a good, thorough thought around what we want to collaborate on and what we want to share services on and what we don't. That's it. Thanks.
Neil, you're the only one with a rebuttal, so I'm just going to keep looking at you if you're, anytime you're ready. And I'll pull the next question. This one's for Bobby.
All right, and this is question number 3. The Valley Street corridor seems to be left very downtrodden by town government. What would you like to see done to improve the look of the corridor?
I'm a recreation guy, so I see areas in Founders Park where I think it'd be great to devote some of that to outdoor basketball. So we could have street art. Not only would it improve in terms of our overall fitness as a community, it would improve in terms of inclusivity and our recreational offering. And I think there's some additional space there that could be used there. But we also talked about making sure that it's pedestrian friendly. I think that in itself, seeing we took the tour of Academy Heights and just being on the street and seeing people just blow the horn, maybe because they were telling us to get out of the way, but I think it was because they enjoyed seeing people walk the streets, and they understood, because we were all three candidates on the slate that I'm on were walking together. They understood that, you know, local politics is happening. So there was some excitement about just seeing people walk the street. So making it more pedestrian friendly. I think that the Academy Heights is just really, when we talk about diversity as a community, that's the part where I did not get to when we alluded to reducing or trying to somehow get out of this reduction in Black families. It's the diversity that attracted us here. And I think the most diverse community within South Orange is Academy Heights. So figuring out a way to embrace it and take advantage of all the diversity from not only residential and commercial spaces, but the diversity in age. You've got Seton Hall students, and you've got people that have lived there their entire lives. So I just think making it safer, making it pedestrian friendly, making it a place where people can enjoy what is a beautiful Founders Park. The recreation guy says that we might be able to do some basketball or something there, an outdoor court. But just taking advantage of the fact that it is a place that most people drive, whether you're in South Orange or Maplewood or driving through the towns. And so let's use it to, you know, there's, for example, there's a wall on one of the buildings that I thought would be great for some street art as well. Just a simple welcome to South Orange. Again, we have so much talent here in the art space, so take advantage of it and use what is a main throughway to highlight what's so beautiful about South Orange.
Thank you so much. All right, last rebuttal. Here it is.
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to I feel like Valley is just this no man's land that really needs attention. Like I was talking about before, we could have a series of parklets. You could have a series of a whole list of things up and down that road that we have found that you can do on county roads. You can get county approval that would help slow down traffic, would actually bring people into the space and make it about people and not about cars. And I got to say, like, and I would say that across the board in South Orange, it's got to be about people. It's got to be about the families that live here, so that it attracts people to this town, and it actually creates an energy in these spaces that it becomes more safe. I mean, it's like when you see more pedestrians and you see more activity and you see less just parked cars and cars moving, you just automatically slow down. And like, these are things that I'll just close with this. It's like, these are things that we could do. We could crowdsource funding. We could get funding through grants. We could get funding through, another that is low dollar that could actually happen, almost instantaneously. So thanks.
All right, thank you so much. So we've got 2 more questions and no more rebuttals. So the next one goes back to Neil.
All right, this is question number 4. What are your feelings on tree infrastructure? Should the town spend money to plant and maintain trees along streets and in parks?
Oh my gosh. Well, I lost, I got to tell you, I spent so there's a big tree planting happening in South Orange this spring, and I had tried to get I worked really hard to try to get the trees kind of located in a way that would have a big impact on the green infrastructure in the town, so that the trees would actually help with stormwater management along the river. I lost that battle. And actually, the trees are getting planted, at least in Meadowland Park, not in the places I was trying to kind of guide in that direction. I think trees are important, but I think that we really should be thinking about green infrastructure in South Orange, stormwater. Every house in this town probably has a stormwater issue, and it is only going to get worse over the next 10 years. And there's no kind of vision for how we're going to deal with the climate change, how to deal with climate change in this town. And I think that is a big, big problem. If you've got a wet basement now, you're going to have a wetter basement. And the fact that we're only looking at trees from a decorative perspective and not from a service perspective is a really big missed opportunity. We could use the streets. We could use the streets as catch basins, as bioswales, rain gardens. There's a whole list of things that we could do that could totally revolutionize the way that water is managed in this town, reduce flooding downstream, and actually improve the quality. I mean, talk about Valley Street. We could have rain parks, we could have catch basins, we could have bioswales along Valley that would manage stormwater, reduce flooding downstream, and at the same time beautify and slow down traffic on Valley. None of that's on the table right now. And none that's on the table because I just do not feel like those are issues that there's just not that level. There's just no one in the town right now that's really seeing that as a critical issue. And I think that's something that I'm extremely passionate about, and I'm actually working on in other towns right now. So
thank you so much. I was like, that was written for you. And final question goes to Bill.
All right, and this is question number 7. What will be your number 1 priority for South Orange if elected, and how will you work on that effort?
So there'll be, you know, my interest is around environmental issues. So my number 1 priority, I have probably a top 4 environmental issues that I'm interested in, but one of my top priorities, or number 1 priority, is to build the next phase of the River Greenway project. Many of you have been around town a long time, so you know about this project. So it's a pedestrian and bike path that will run from 3rd Street through Waterlands Park. There'll be a new bridge constructed that will cross the Rahway River, and then the path will go along the edge of Chiswick Field, and then it will connect to Maplewood. I think that's Parker over there, or Jefferson. I always get them mixed up. Parker or Jefferson. So that project has been in the works for a long time. The project was originally planned over 15 years ago, I believe. And then more recently than that, Janine Bauer secured a substantial grant to do this second phase of the project. I think it was around $1 million. So this is a grant-funded project, and it's really time for the trustees to push to get it done. It's been delayed many times, and for various reasons on the state level, and now's really the time to push to get that done. What it will give to South Orange and Maplewood is just really can't be understated. It'll connect the 2 communities, and it'll connect them with a nature-lined path that will be really quite beautiful. And I think that we'll have a lot of people using it and enjoying it, and change those adjacent spaces as well. Thank you.
All right. And then the final question that gets answered by everyone, and we'll go in reverse alphabetical order for this, which is extra easy because Karen's already on some committees. What 3 trustee committees would you be the most interested in serving on, and why? So we'll start with Karen.
You bet. I use this opportunity as a trustee to really expand my horizons. So I keep trying to, if I'm reelected, I would like to stay on finance if I have the opportunity, because I think there's a huge learning curve and I've learned a lot, and I'd like to keep with that. But I'd also like to expand. I'd like to be on public safety and also public works. And the public safety is really just because the public safety issues are so complex and so important, and I would like to have a hand in getting deeper into the weeds about understanding how that works. And when you're just at the trustee level, you know, you get the reports, but you don't get to dive in quite as much. And then the public safety, I mean, the public works is really all about recycling. And I think that there's real reforms to be made in recycling, and there's real reforms to be made in the way that we manage our leaves. Huge financial, a huge amount of public monies are spent in collecting our leaves each year. So, you know, if more residents would consider mulching in place, or if we could just start to do things a little differently with leaves, I think that would be helpful. So I would like to continue on in public works if I can. And I'd hope there's advisory committees, and I hope that I'll be able to continue with that, with the Citizen Budget Advisory Committee, which is the one that I started again. It had been really dormant for many years. So I'd like to keep that going. And also the library, I'm liaison to the library. They are their own independent board, but I think I'm helping, and I would like to continue to help, and also with our seniors and the Two Towns for All Ages initiative. So it's a busy job being a trustee. You're on a lot of committees, but if you have the time and the temperament to do it, it's a very worthwhile and engaging activity. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Karen. And we'll go on to Bill next.
All right. So the committees I would be interested in serving on, Department of Public Works, for many of the same reasons that Karen just spoke about. Everything to do with municipal solid waste in our towns currently is managed by the Department of Public Works, the parts that aren't privately contracted. So definitely Department of Public Works, and also almost everything that manifests itself in this town in 3 dimensions has some pathway through the Department of Public Works. So what you see and what things look like in this town are dictated by what happens in the Department of Public Works. And from years of attending Department of Public Works meetings, and other people on this call that have attended those meetings too, they know that it's like, okay, this is what happens in the town. You hear about it in that meeting. So Department of Public Works, also interested in rec and cultural affairs, and you know, what kind of spaces we make for for villagers and how we share them. That's interesting to me, and also the cultural affairs and arts part of it. Interested in finance and personnel issues too. So you know, as we retain staff and thinking about like budgets around retaining those staff, and then what their backgrounds and interests are. And I love our public library just like Karen Hilton does, and I use it often. So I would be interested in helping with the library as well. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Bill. Neil, take it away.
So I think, I mean, my background being kind of in the design world, urban design, architecture, landscape design, stormwater, you know, that's kind of a natural kind of connection to public works. I got to tell you, the thing I'd love to see in South Orange is a parks department that is disconnected from rec and focused solely on the green spaces that are near and dear to everybody's heart in this town. That doesn't exist, and I think it should. And that's one of the things that I would love to see happen in South Orange, to give our parks a chance to be like, not just regionally, but world class. Something that's not really in my wheelhouse right now is the Board of School Estimate, is something that I'd like to be a part of. The reason I'm running for this is because of the debacle of how the schools have been handled over the last year. I think there's got to be more oversight. I think that trustees need to be able to be asking harder questions and taking more accountability. I would like to try and take more accountability and to really, you know, help what in any way that a trustee can to make the educational system in this town better for everybody in every way possible. And then I would, other things like the Environmental Commission, I've got a lot of experience on there. could easily be there. The Development Committee is another one that I could easily and probably provide a lot of insight to around buildings and energy efficiency and sustainability. I mean, that's the thing about this town. There's no shortage of committees. So I would love to see less committees, less bureaucracy, and more streamlined so that people, because the one thing I hear a lot about is that the bureaucracy and the inertia of not doing anything, because there are so many committees, there could be a workaround, and that we could have a town that people feel that they could engage quicker and see results faster.
All right, great. Thank you, Neil. And Bobby, last but not least.
I'd love to see, and I agree with Neil to a certain degree, but I'd love to just see more people being involved. One of the silver linings of the pandemic is that we've all had to learn how to do Zoom and be in two places at once. I love more people to be involved in the committees. And the ones that are most interesting to me, citizen engagement and strategic partnerships. I think the strategic partnerships, because I went to undergrad and law school at Notre Dame, I got to see partnerships between South Bend, Indiana and the University of Notre Dame. Got my MBA at Yale, got to see those partnerships between New Haven and Yale. And I think making that a concerted effort to build that partnership with Seton Hall and looking at both the applications and the overall enrollment number going up, and seeing the success that they've had as an institution, research institution, but also in sports, that it's trending in the right way. So I think developing that relationship so we take advantage of a worldwide university right here in our community would be ideal. Health and public safety, I talked about making the streets safer. I want to see more of what we saw throughout the pandemic, kids just riding their bike around, but as opposed to just being in the neighborhoods, downtown as well. And then sort of the work I've done in CPC with public safety, making sure that we think about the interactions that our residents have with police officers and they're reflective of the community that we say that we are. And then recreation, I'm a coach, I'm a former professional athlete. So I would love to see our recreation committee really build something special here. And I think doing so along with making sure cultural arts are afforded to our residents would be ideal to make this a more improved place to live and have offerings that reflect, again, that diversity. If we say we're going to have developments with affordable housing devoted to it, let's also do so in terms of being more diverse in what we do with our recreation department. And that committee, I think, could address that issue.
Thank you, Bobby. All right, and that concludes our question and answer portion of the forum. So if there's no objections, we'll move on to the final closing statements from all the candidates. And this time we'll go in alphabetical order again if there are no objections. So we'll start with Bobby.
I've got 2 minutes for this, right? All right. Okay. I talked about my mother, who was an educator, 41 years, same school system, taught remedial reading in the 6th grade. When she won Teacher of the Year, I remember that year like none other, right? She went on to become an administrator, went on to become a principal. But to the day she died, there were people that anytime I would go home for holidays, grown adults with their own kids walk up to my mother and say, "Miss Brown, you changed my life." And being a professional athlete was fun, but I didn't change anyone's life. I'm doing this because I feel like at a local level, committing myself and volunteering, and all the time that we've spent campaigning, speaking to Karen and all the other trustees, knowing the amount of commitment that you've got to give in order to do this job sufficiently and to thrive in it. It's going to be a lot that you have to give up, but I think it boils down to at the local level is how we change lives on a daily basis. Seeing a mass exodus of Black residents from South Orange hurts my heart. Knowing the issues that my sons have had in the schools and knowing some of the race-related discussions that I've had with other parents breaks my heart. And I want South Orange to be the place that when we look on paper and look at that diversity, I want us to live it. And I want to govern in a way to make sure that we indeed, that we do that. This can be a wonderful community, even more wonderful than it already is, but it's going to take wonderful residents volunteering their time. And I want the listening tours that we've been doing, events like this, not to just be a campaign event. I want these to continue beyond after the vote on May 11th. Hopefully I'm fortunate enough to get your vote and be elected. I want you to continue to ask the questions, continue to be engaged, continue to be a part of the committees, because when you look at this week in America and you see that the world celebrates, most of our country celebrates a verdict, it just shows that in 2021, we still got a lot of work to do. And if South Orange isn't a place to do it, then where? We are innovative in all that we do professionally. So let's be innovative in how we are as a community and be an example to the county, an example to the state, an example to the rest of the country. And I am hoping to get your vote to be a part of that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Bobby. And we'll move on to Neil. 2 minutes.
So yeah, well, first I just want to say thank you for this. This is really amazing. I really appreciate it. I love taking these questions. I started running this campaign because I felt like the educational system in this town was failing 7,000 kids in the district. And I still feel that way. I think that there's got to be accountability. And if I begged every elected official I could get my hands on to say something, not to fix it, but to say something, and they decided it was not worth it. That's why I started running, because I feel there's got to be accountability. The issues that we're going to face are probably going to be bigger than the ones we have faced. And we've got to be willing to stand up for what we believe is true and right. And I think that if we want to stop people from moving out of this town, we've got to have an education system that is the best in the state, if not the country. We can't do that by being quiet. Secondly, we can make this town more livable. We can improve the amenities. We can improve the streets. We can make them safer for everybody. And it doesn't take a piece of legislation from Congress to make that happen. But we have to be willing to be accountable for these things. And I just feel like we need that. And that's why I'm running. And so, I've been involved in this town for the last 8 years, and I've loved it. I hope that I can still do it. I hope that you vote for me. I'm the first line on the ballot. Neil Chambers, and if I get elected, I will definitely do my best to serve you guys with every ounce of passion that I have. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Neil. All right, Bill, 2 minutes for your closing statement.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank you. Thanks, Academy Heights, for having us here tonight, and thanks, Academy Heights, for being my neighborhood as well. Our neighborhood's an inspiration to me to do the work that I do in South Orange. I love the community that we built here in our little area. I love how my family feels welcomed here. I love how I think all the families feel welcome in Academy Heights. And then the other part I love about Academy Heights is then when I go to a town meeting to get interested in something that matters to all of South Orange, there's Academy Heights there at that meeting. You guys turn out for everything in this town to help out, and that's truly an inspiration to me, and an inspiration for me to run for Board of Trustees and represent Academy Heights while I represent all of South Orange, and then also, hopefully neighborhoods like Academy Heights will inspire other people in South Orange to participate in their municipal government the way you guys do. So hopefully you guys can, I can earn your vote on May 11th, and then I look forward to getting back to work in our parks and in our community meetings and doing all the stuff that we always do in Academy Heights. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And Karen, 2 minutes for your closing statements.
Bet. Thanks so much. This is so inspirational, hearing everybody's closing remarks, but also this whole night has been really fun and challenging. And thank you very much for putting it on. It's really an honor to serve on the local governing body. And it's a privilege. And it's not one that any of us, I'm sure, are taking lightly. It's why we're choosing to run. I think, though, it's important to keep in mind about the hundreds of issues that are covered by the village trustees. And I think that our ticket of Bobby Brown, myself, and Bill Haskins has the skill set necessary to tackle all those many issues. The job of the trustees is really that of governance. It's our job to set the priorities and set the standards that the administration needs to carry out. And it's that governance that needs the special skill set in being able to work together and being able to communicate with hundreds and lots of different types of people. And I think that our ticket has that. I also want to say that we do need to honor the Board of Education's role. I do sit on this Board of School Estimate, and I admire our colleagues on the Board of Education, and I appreciate their work. And I don't want to be silent about the problems that we're having in our schools, but I do want to be respectful of letting them do their job. No one is happy with our current situation. This COVID virus is terrible. We don't even need to say that, but I think that we do need to keep speaking up around these issues. So I hope you'll vote for line B for Karen Hilton, Bobby Brown, and Bill Haskins. If we're elected, we will hopefully open up the budget more. We will complete the Baird Center and the River Greenway and the public library. And we will really reform our recycling. So there's lots of work to do, but I want to really make sure that everybody knows that you have to vote on May 11th. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. We'll pass it back over to our president, David Kraker. Bobby?
I see Bobby's got his hand
Sorry.
raised.
Yeah, just quickly, I wanted to say, because I've spent the day preparing for this and getting ready, it's my wife's birthday, Emily. So I would be remiss if I didn't say happy birthday to my wife. So if you see her, let her know that although I'm doing this, that I acknowledged her birthday on this day. And thank you for putting this together. I just wanted to say that.
And let her know on behalf of Academy Heights that we appreciate letting, you taking the time out of her birthday to come hang out with us for an hour and a half to answer our questions, even though I'm sure she would much rather you be spending time with her. So
really appreciate it. Yeah, you guys picked a great day.
You shouldn't assume that.
Right. Maybe she likes that he was
Very fair.
If you want to do this again next year on her birthday, that's fine. We'll just kind of hang out. That's
Okay. Well, I want to thank all our neighbors, whether people are in Academy Heights or around town, for attending this. For everyone, just want to let you know that this was streamed to YouTube. We do have our YouTube link, but I do believe maybe both the online newspapers have the YouTube link as well. So, but certainly you can get that from us if you need to. The other thing I want to say, don't forget, voting day is on May 11th. And for people in Academy Heights, certainly have new people moving in. We do have 2 places to vote. So we have 2 precincts. We have precinct number 4, which is most of the neighborhood. Most people would vote at Our Lady of Sorrows, but for 2 blocks in the neighborhood north of 2nd Street and east of Academy Street, you are in precinct or district 11, and you would vote at the Presbyterian Church. And so that would be on May 11th. If you have not registered to vote by mail, you do have to vote in person. So just keep that in mind. It is not automatically that you are going to receive it through the mail. Okay, so once again, thank you everybody for being here tonight, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you to the candidates for indulging us, and thank you for Andrew and Kat for being the MCs, and for the rest of my neighbors for being so diligent in putting together the questions. And thank you, South Orange, and thank you, Joe Malaspina, Chris Black. Thank you, Alyssa, and everybody. Please remember to vote on May 11th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. This is awesome. Thank you very much.